This is episode 50 part 2. However, at this moment, this young lady, who appeared quite cold in the eyes of many suitors, was calling out with a somewhat timid, soft voice. Xiao Yan smiled and nodded. His gaze immediately turned to Xiao Yu as he said, I have settled most of the things after staying in the inner academy for so long. I am thinking of going to train a little in the deep mountains, during the remaining time. I will make another trip back to the inner academy, to bring Lin Yang and the others away, when second brother has settled the things on his end. Xiao Yu was startled when she heard this. She frowned slightly and said, Must you arrange your schedule until it is so tight? The Misty Cloud sect and Yun Shan are not ordinary enemies. Back then, all that I was thinking of when I was chased out of the Jioma Empire was to do everything to strengthen myself. After that, second brother came. Do you know that the me then had nearly lost my sense of reasoning and wished to immediately charge to the Jioma Empire upon hearing that the Xiao clan was nearly eliminated by the Misty Cloud sect. Xiao Yang smiled. His voice, however, was calm without much fluctuation. However, I ended up enduring it at the last moment. Xiao Yang rubbed his nose and laughed softly. This is because I know that with my strength 2 years ago, it was likely that my end would not be much different from back then even if I did return. Moreover, I might even end up fleeing in a more miserable state, chased away. Xiao Yu slowly walked to Xiao Yang's front. She eyed this young man, who had unknowingly become almost the same height as her. Her delicate hand suddenly rubbed the head of the former as she gently said, Little pervert. Uncle Xiao was right about you back then. He always believed that you would become the most outstanding person of the Xiao clan. I, too, believe this now. Envy and dejection flashed across Xiao Mai's bright beautiful eyes, as she stood by the side and watched Xiao Yu who was performing such affectionate actions with Xiao Yang. Who said that a young lady did not yearn for love? With the reputation that Xiao Yang currently possessed within the inner academy, quite a number of young ladies with good talent and appearance held an admiration for him. I'm sorry. Xiao Mai's little face was flushed. It was a moment later, before she had summoned the courage to timidly speak with a soft voice. Xiao Yang was startled. He immediately smiled and shook his head as he said, We can be considered to be brothers and sisters who have grown up together. There is no need to say such words. I have already forgotten about the matter back then. Xiao Yang did not stop after speaking. He turned around, descended the stairs, and disappeared in front of the gazes of the two women. The back of Xiao Mai's teeth tightly bit her lower red lip, as she watched the spot from which Xiao Yang disappeared. Her little face was somewhat pale. A moment later, spoke in a somewhat bitter soft voice. Have you really forgotten? Xiao Yu sighed, when she saw the dejected, bitter face of Xiao Mai. She pulled the former into an embrace as her delicate hand rubbed the smooth black hair of the former. The sudden loud sound of rolling thunder appeared in the quiet mountain range that was covered in a dense, lush, green color, surprising a countless number of birds in the forest. The manner which those birds flapped their wings and flew high in the sky in all directions foreboded that a great disaster was about to strike. A mountain peak began to shake and fall at a certain spot in the mountain range. Huge rocks repeatedly rolled down from above, pressing against some of the enormous trees below until they were all broken. Numerous arm-thick crack lines began to swiftly spread as the enormous rocks rolled down. Within a couple of minutes, a perfect mountain peak stopped, just short of completely collapsing. A black-robed human figure was flapping jade-green fire wings extruding from his back in the air above the mountain peak. His eyes studied the swaying mountain peak that was about to fall before he nodded his head with some satisfaction. Currently, the strength of this open mountain seal was indeed much stronger than before. Moreover, since this was only practice, the do chi that was maneuvered was not at its full strength. It was difficult to imagine just how frightening the force would be if one were to unleash it to one's full potential. Is this the open mountain seal? It is indeed worthy of being a DI class high-level do technique. A somewhat illusionary old figure suddenly appeared and stood suspended in the air beside the black-robed young man. He eyed the mountain peak that was nearly destroyed below as he nodded his head with some surprise and inquired with a smile. Yes. Xiao Yang nodded his head and smiled. He immediately asked, Has teacher heard of this do technique? The God Seal technique. How could I have not heard of such a great name? This set of do technique is also not something that anyone within the clan of your little girlfriend can practice. The reason she could obtain it was most likely because of her extraordinary status. However, it is really unexpected that she was able to give you such a rare Do technique. Yao Lao laughed. He immediately seemed to have recalled something and involuntarily sighed. Back then, I was also quite interested in this set of hand-seal Do techniques. Unfortunately, I was unable to obtain it. If one were to reach complete mastery of this set of Do techniques, it would not be overboard to say that one could destroy the mountains and boil the seas. Unfortunately, there are only 2 hand seals of this hand seal Do technique within the scroll that Sun Er gave me. Xiao Yan rubbed his head and replied in a somewhat embarrassed manner. You greedy little fellow. Just be content. Although this God Seal technique is a DI class high-level Do technique, if one were able to practice it until the final seal and achieve the stage where each seal is connected to each other, it would likely be able to rival a Qian class Do technique. Yao Lao laughed as he reprimanded this young man. He said, even though the status of that little girl is extraordinary within the clan, it is likely that she has taken quite the risk by privately giving such a Do technique to you. That clan of hers regards these top-level Do techniques very highly. Being able to give you 2 of the seals in the God Seal technique is likely already her limit. Xiao Yang let out an embarrassed laugh. He was merely careless mentioning it. Naturally, it was impossible for him to grumble about Sun Er. From the solemn expression she had when she gave him the God Seal technique, it was obvious that she held it in extremely high regard. According to what was written on the scroll, just training the first seal, the open mountain seal, would require one to at least be of the Do Wang class. Given Xiao Yang's current strength, he could only feel around this open mountain seal. Hence, even if Sun Er had really gave him all of the God Seal technique, it was likely that he could only salivate while looking at the seals beyond. Being able to see them, but unable to practice them. This was an even greater torture. It has been at least half a month since I entered the mountains, but there is no news from second brother's end. Did some trouble occur? Xiao Yang flapped the fire wings on his back, and threw his gaze in the direction of the Black Corner region. He could not help but frown as he spoke. Currently, Xiao Yang's strength had soared and he also possessed powerful killing weapons like the Angry Buddha Lotus Flame, as well as the God Seal technique. However, there was still some uncertainty if he wanted to rely on them to kill Yun Shan. After all, even though the Do Zone class could not be considered an expert that could stand at the top of the pyramid if placed in the entire continent, they were experts that were only a little below that level. From what Xiao Li had said, it was obvious that the Misty Cloud sect was collaborating with the Hall of Souls. Therefore, Xiao Yang must plan for the worst. In the event of any accident occurring that would prevent Yao Lao from participating in the fight, Xiao Yang needed to be able to fight Yun Shan independently. Hence, he needed to enable himself to possess the strength to kill Yun Shan. Yao Lao nodded slightly as he watched Xiao Yang's face, which was gradually becoming cold and stern. He slowly said, "It is indeed extremely difficult for you to have absolute confidence in killing Yun Shan with your current strength. However, it is not totally impossible to do. What method does teacher have?" Xiao Yang was startled and he hurriedly inquired. "Learn the second seal of the God Seal technique. Yao Lao laughed. Xiao Yang immediately became dispirited when he heard this. He helplessly said, "Now, I have not even completely grasped the first seal. How can I master the second seal? Moreover, according to what Sun Er said, the second seal requires one to reach the Do Huang class before one can practice it. In that case, there remains only the last possibility." Yao Lao smiled. He waved his hand and a dense white-colored flame curled and rose. He watched Xiao Yang, who was deep in thought in front of him, and laughed, merge 3 kinds of heavenly flame, and use the Angry Buddha Lotus Flame. An Angry Buddha Lotus Flame that is merged from 3 kinds of heavenly flame. The expression on Xiao Yang's face changed rapidly. He knit his brows tightly. Being the creator of the heavenly flame Fire Lotus, an attack that possessed the strongest and most frightening strength, he understood the danger and the instability of it extremely well. Back then, he had relied on his luck to control the equilibrium between 2 kinds of heavenly flames. However, he had paid the price of nearly blowing himself to pieces. The merger of 3 kinds of heavenly flame might appear to be simply adding 1 kind of heavenly flame on top of it. Yao Lao smiled and nodded. He said, "You need not be too anxious. Merge it if you can. If you really can't, then forget about it. At the very most, teacher will intervene at that time and kill Yun Shan." Xiao Yang smiled. However, his heart knew that he should work hard in order to achieve true assurance. After he possessed an aim, Xiao Yang began to try and merge these three kinds of heavenly flame into the angry Buddha lotus flame during the remaining period of time. However, as he had expected, it was indeed extremely difficult to merge this thing. He tried a couple of experiments during this period of time, but all of them ended up in failure. Moreover, he even received minor injuries during the intense explosion that was created when the heavenly flame collided with one another. Yao Lao was also helpless in the face of Xiao Yang's repeated failed attempts. This was not because Xiao Yang lacked the talent. Instead, this heavenly flame merger was indeed difficult. He even thought that even at his peak back then, attempting to merge three kinds of heavenly flame might well be an extremely difficult task. Moreover, although Xiao Yang was already in possession of two kinds of heavenly flame, the bone-chilling flame did not belong to him. After 1 month of such repeated experiments without rest, there seemed to be some progress with the merger of these three kinds of heavenly flame. However, a messenger bird came flying from the Black Corner region at such a time, causing Xiao Yang to have no choice but to cease his experiment. "Everything is in order, we can leave anytime." The note only had this one sentence. However, this one sentence caused Xiao Yang to be silent for a long time. He immediately exhaled a long breath. He had waited 3 years for this day. "Have you decided to leave today?" Su Qian looked at Xiao Yang in front of him and sighed. The matter at second brother's end is settled. It is time that I take my leave." Xiao Yang nodded slightly. His gaze slowly swept over the familiar faces in this remote mountain area. A moment later, he laughed softly and said, "The reason I have called everyone here is because I don't wish for the news of my departure to spread within the inner academy and cause everyone in Pan's Gate to be depressed." Wu Hao, Hu Jiao, and the others nodded quietly. Xiao Yang's imminent departure also caused them to feel somewhat depressed. "First Elder, thank you for taking care of me these few years. Xiao Yang will not forget this favor." Xiao Yang once again bowed to Su Qian and spoke sincerely. Su Qian smiled and nodded. He immediately patted Xiao Yang's shoulders and said, "Little fellow, you should be careful on this trip. I will send someone to take care of that Xiao Gate of yours. You will definitely still be able to see a complete Xiao Gate the next time that you return." Xiao Yang nodded slightly. He took 2 steps back, cupped his hands toward everyone and said in a solemn voice, "Everyone, Xiao Yang will not forget our ties from living together for 3 years. As long as Xiao Yang is alive, anyone can come and look for me in the Jioma Empire if you need any help in the future." Xiao Yang's words that carried a little of the temperament of the Black Corner region caused everyone to be happy. The depressed atmosphere, because of the separation, had also become slightly more relaxed. "Xiao Yang, we will go to the Jioma Empire to look for you once Hu Jiao and I successfully break through to the Do Wang class. We will come and help you at that time." A warm, gentle smile was revealed on Wu Hao's face as he spoke. "Xiao Yang will definitely drink with all of you until we are drunk to apologize for having to leave in such a hurry today." Xiao Yang laughed out loud. "Can we leave already?" A cool, cold voice was transmitted from a treetop. Everyone lifted their heads and their hearts let out praise when they saw Medusa's cold, glamorous, exquisite face. Xiao Yang smiled and did not continue to delay after hearing Medusa's urging. He cupped his hands toward everyone and spoke with clear laughter, "Everyone, take care. We will say goodbye here. Let's meet in the future if we have the affinity to do so." Xiao Yang turned his head to Lin Yang, Lin Xiao Ya, Liu Qing and Zi Yang by the side and waved his hand as he spoke. "Let's go." The 4 of them nodded their heads slightly when they heard Xiao Yang's voice. They immediately cupped their hands toward everyone and their Do Chi wings gradually surfaced on their backs. Their wings were flapped and their bodies slowly rose into the sky. "Xiao Yang, be careful. Do not be reckless if you meet any problems." Xiao Yu finally could not resist taking a step forward. She spoke with reddened eyes when she saw Xiao Yang summon his beautiful jade-green fire wings. "Relax. I will send someone to inform all of you once I have settled the issue within the Jioma Empire." Xiao Yang smiled and nodded. He immediately turned his body in a dashing manner and flapped his fire wings. Without any procrastination, he transformed into a dark green fire figure that flew toward the deep mountains. After which, Medusa, Lin Yang, Zi Yang and the two others followed close behind. Everyone watched the human figures gradually disappear from sight and eventually withdrew their gazes a moment later. They sighed softly with one another. They knew that the danger that Xiao Yang faced when he returned to the Jioma Empire was quite great. The Misty Cloud sect had stood in the Jioma Empire for many years. Its foundation was incomparably solid. Even though Xiao Yang had the help of a strong person like Medusa, it was likely that he would have difficulty obtaining an absolute advantage. What awaited Xiao Yang this time around might well be an extremely intense and fierce fight. Victory or defeat all rest on Xiao Yang alone. First Elder, can Xiao Yang succeed this time around? Hu Jia withdrew her gaze and suddenly asked in a soft voice. Everyone threw their gazes toward Su Qian, who was standing with his hands behind his back, when they heard this question. It is difficult to say, Su Qian sighed and said, the Jioma Empire is quite xenophobic. Hence, this resulted in their entire empire only possessing a single faction, like the Misty Cloud sect. Due to the long heritage of the Misty Cloud sect, it could be considered quite a good faction, even when placed in the southwestern continent. Although Xiao Yang has an extraordinary training talent, his grounding is too weak. He might have gathered quite a number of people this time around, but it is still unknown just who will be defeated. Little fellow, this time around, you either succeed or pay the price. You have to rely on yourself for everything. Hopefully, your good news will spread over a short period of time later. Su Qian's footsteps paused just as he was about to enter the forest. He once again turned around, looked in the direction in which Xiao Yang had disappeared in and sighed in his heart. There were human figures moving on a mountain peak that was not far from Feng City. Within the Black Corner region, a low beast roar occasionally sounded. Second leader, the troops from Xiao Gate have been gathered. Adding this to the experts that we have gathered during this period of time, as well as us three brothers, we have a total of 8 expert Do Wangs. Most of the rest are expert Do Lings whom we have selected stringently according to the requirements. Not only were they not afraid to die, but most of them are at the peak of the Do Ling class. A brawny man spoke in a deep voice to the man, who was standing at the edge of the mountain peak. The man slowly turned his head over when he heard the words of the brawny man. From his cold, stern manner, it was clearly Xiao Li who was gathering experts within Feng City. The latter glanced at the brawny man before nodding his head and said, "You have done quite well." Xiao Li's gaze turned toward the slope of the mountain peak, after speaking these words. There were over 100 black figures quietly standing there. In front of these black figures were 7 human figures with different heights and widths. By sensing the powerful aura that faintly seeped out from their bodies, these 7 people were all actually experts of the Do Wang class. Despite so many people gathering on the mountain slope, the place was completely silent. A faint pressuring feeling covered their surroundings. Even the beasts' roars that were emitted from the forest quietly became much weaker. Is there any news from the Dark Sky sect, Luosho Gate, and Wild Lion Gang? Why have they not arrived? Xiao Li withdrew his gaze from those black figures, as he suddenly frowned and said. 3 extremely powerful auras finally rushed down, with flapping Do Qi wings, after the many black figures rushed down. Finally, they were suspended in the mid-air above the mountain top. Their gaze swept over the lineup behind Xiao Li, and surprise flashed across their eyes. They smiled and said, "Little brother Xiao really has some ability. It is really unexpected that you are actually able to gather so many experts within just a month. How envious." Xiao Li smiled and spoke in a somewhat unconcerned manner, "With my third brother's status as a Tier 6 alchemist, it should not be surprising that he possesses such a gathering ability." The eyes of Tai Wu and the other 2 flickered when they heard this. They immediately smiled and agreed, "Little brother Xiao is right. If Chief Xiao is willing to announce his identity as a Tier 6 alchemist, forget about a couple of Do Wang, it is likely that even elite Do Huangs would swarm over." Xiao Li smiled and spoke in a faint voice, "May I know what is the strength of the people that the 3 of you have brought?" Tai Wu, Old Yin Ji Yu, and Sumai exchanged glances with one another after hearing Xiao Li's words. They immediately laughed and said, "Each of us have brought 2 expert Do Wangs." Including ourselves, there are 3 elite Do Huangs. The remainder are all elites within our faction. I think that they would definitely not be any weaker than the core disciples of the Misty Cloud sect. 6 Do Wangs. This does not appear to match the status of the 3 of you in the Black Corner region. Xiao Li randomly smiled and replied. The Dark Sky sect, Luo Shogate, and Wild Lion Gang were all top-tier factions within the Black Corner region. Now, their style of merely taking out 2 expert Do Wang was indeed a little weak. Little brother Xiao must think about us. The Black Corner region cannot be compared to other places. If we bring too many elites from our faction away, it is likely that our old home would have been cleared out by others when we return. Sumai and the other 2 helplessly said. Xiao Li frowned and could only nod his head. These words were indeed true. Therefore, there was not much else he could say. It was fortunate that these 3 fellows were all experts at the Do Huang class, and could be considered to be the greatest help. Little brother Xiao, our people have already arrived. May I know why Chief Xiao has yet to appear? Old Yin Jiyu laughed and suddenly asked, as his gaze swept in all directions. Sumai and Tai Wu also threw their gazes toward Xiao Li after hearing Old Yin Gu's words. This time around, they were going to travel a great distance to the Jioma Empire to oppose a faction like the Misty Cloud sect. If even Xiao Yang, this person in charge, was not around, they would not have the courage. I have already informed third brother, I think. Xiao Li smiled. However, before he finished his sentence, a faint laugh swiftly transmitted from the sky before resounding across this mountain peak. A wave of rushing wind sound soon followed. Not long after the laughter sounded. Immediately, a couple of human figures surfaced at the edge of the sky. Within a couple of blinks, they had flashed and appeared on the mountain peak. The black-robed young man at the front raised his head to Tai Wu and the others and laughed when the human figures appeared. I'm sorry for troubling everyone to wait here. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.